waiting. The discipline of keeping promises to yourself builds unshakable confidence. You see, every time you make a commitment and follow through, waiting, something powerful happens inside. You begin to believe in you. That belief is not built by what you intend to do, but by what you actually do, waiting. Most people are good at keeping promises to others, yet they constantly break the ones they make to themselves. And the problem is waiting. Your subconscious is always watching. It remembers. When you say, I'll wake up early, but don't when you say, waiting. I'll exercise, but quit your silently telling yourself, I can't be trusted. And over time, that erodes your self-respect. Waiting. Confidence isn't a mystery, it's a result. It's the byproduct of discipline, action, repeated over time. And it starts with small things, waiting. You don't need to conquer the world in a day. Just wake up when you said you would. Just finish the task you committed to, waiting. Just follow through, especially when no one is watching, because that's where self-trust is forged. In private, waiting. And self-trust is the soil where all greatness grows. When you consistently keep promises to yourself, your mind stops arguing with your goals. You say, waiting. I'm going to do this, and your inner voice no longer rolls its eyes. It says, yes, we do what we say here. That's rare. That's power, waiting. And it affects every area of your life, your health, your relationships, your work. Because the person who trusts themselves doesn't hesitate, waiting. Doesn't second guess and doesn't shrink in the face of challenge. You won't always feel like showing up. That's okay. Feelings are visitors, waiting. But discipline is a decision. And the decision to keep your word to yourself is the beginning of self-leadership. Once you lead yourself, waiting. Everything else follows. People trust those who trust themselves. So start with one promise today. Make it small, but keep it. Then do it again tomorrow, waiting. And before long, you won't just be someone who hopes for confidence. You'll be someone who's earned it, waiting. Daily consistency in small actions compounds into massive results. It's not the big dramatic moves that build success. It's the quiet, unseen. You just keep waiting, uncelebrated things you do every single day. The truth is, you don't need to do extraordinary things, waiting. You just need to do ordinary things extraordinarily well and do them long enough for the compound effect to take over. A 10-minute walk, reading 5 pages, making one more call. Small hinges swing big doors if you move them daily. You see, waiting. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. They start something strong, expecting fireworks, waiting. And when they don't see instant results, they quit. But success doesn't come with a bang, it comes with a whisper. It creeps in slowly. The change is subtle, waiting. You don't notice it day by day, but over time, everything transforms. Just like a drop of water wears away a rock. Not by force, but by repetition, waiting. What makes daily consistency powerful is not how hard it feels, but how deceptively simple it is. That's why it's dangerous to ignore waiting. Because when you skip a day, nothing seems to break. When you skip 2, still no major collapse. But miss enough days, and suddenly you've lost the habit, waiting. The rhythm and the momentum. The results were never instant. They were accumulating quietly in the background. Discipline means showing up even when it's boring, waiting. Even when no one is clapping, because it's in those unseen reps that the real transformation happens. The gym session when no one's around, waiting. The journaling no one reads, the effort no one praises. These are the seeds of greatness planted in silence, harvested in public, waiting. So don't chase motivation, chase consistency. Commit to the small things. Water the seed every day, even when it looks like nothing's happening, waiting. Because eventually the harvest will come. And when it does, you'll look back and realize it was never one big move. It was 1,000 small ones, waiting, done with quiet resolve that changed everything, waiting. When you control your morning, you control your momentum. The first hour of your day is not just a time slot. It's a declaration. It sets the tone, the energy, waiting, and the intention for everything that follows. Most people stumble into their day reacting, reaching for their phone, checking notifications, scrolling endlessly, waiting. And then they wonder why they feel scattered, rushed, and behind. But the person who commands their morning begins with clarity, not chaos, waiting. And clarity is a competitive advantage. See, momentum isn't something that magically shows up halfway through your day. It's something you build step by step, waiting, a quiet routine, a few minutes of reading, reflection, movement, or planning, something intentional. Because how you start is how you continue, waiting. You don't need a perfect morning routine. You just need a routine, one that belongs to you, one that reminds you that before the world gets loud, waiting. You've already chosen focus. Your morning is where you reclaim your power. It's the only part of the day you fully own. Before deadlines, distractions, waiting. And demands try to pull you in 100 directions. That early hour is your time to connect with purpose, to set your course, waiting, to decide who you're going to be today. And when you win that first hour, the rest of the day begins to fall into place, not perfectly, but powerfully, waiting. There's a reason the most successful people in the world protect their mornings like gold, because they know waiting. The quality of your day is determined by the quality of its beginning. If your morning is intentional, your decisions carry more weight. Your energy stays grounded, waiting. And your actions follow your priorities instead of your pressures. So don't leave your mornings to chance. Design them, defend them, waiting. And let that first hour remind you, this day belongs to you, not to your circumstances. Control your morning and you'll create momentum. Control that momentum, waiting. And you'll change the direction of your entire life, waiting. The ability to say no to distractions is a superpower because every yes you give away is a piece of your energy, your focus, and your future, waiting. We live in a world designed to pull your attention in 100 different directions. Notifications, messages, news, entertainment. It all fights for your eyes, waiting, your time, your mind. And if you don't guard it fiercely, you'll find your day and eventually your life consumed by things that don't matter, waiting. Distractions aren't always loud or obvious. Often they come disguised as opportunities, as business, as urgent but unimportant tasks. But here's the true thing, waiting. If everything gets your attention, then nothing truly gets it. The most successful people don't have more time. They have more control over how they spend it, waiting. They've trained themselves to say no without guilt because they know that saying no to the trivial is really saying eyes to the essential, waiting. You don't need more hours in the day. You need fewer leaks in your focus. Every time you chase something shiny, check something meaningless, waiting, or get pulled into someone else's drama, you drift further from your goals, waiting. Discipline is not just about doing what's hard. It's about not doing what's easy when that ease comes at the expense of your mission, waiting. Resisting distraction is not weakness. It's wisdom. There's no shortage of things you could do. But there's always a handful of things you must do, waiting. And your power lies in knowing the difference. You gain clarity by cutting. You gain power by pruning. And you gain results by saying, waiting, not now, to the noise. So you can say yes to what matters most. So make your no sacred, waiting. Protect your focus like it's the last resource you have, because in many ways it is. Say no more often and watch how your life begins to align, sharpen, waiting, and accelerate. Because the people who can block out the noise are the ones who end up building something worth listening to, waiting. Following through on your goals creates internal trust, and success always follows trust. You see, every time you set a goal and complete it, no matter how small, waiting, you're sending a powerful message to yourself, I can count on me. And that trust, that quiet confidence, becomes the foundation for everything else, waiting. Because people who don't trust themselves hesitate, they procrastinate. They abandon their dreams halfway through, waiting. But the person who follows through builds momentum, and momentum is what moves mountains. It's easy to get excited about a goal in the beginning, waiting. The vision is clear, the energy is high, the possibilities feel endless. But goals don't live in excitement, they live in execution, waiting. You just keep waiting, live what you do after the excitement fades. That's the moment that separates the talkers from the doors. And here's the truth, waiting. You don't need more motivation. You need more follow-through. Finish the plan. Stick to the process. Keep the promise, especially when no one's watching, waiting. When you follow through, you begin to rewire your self-image. You stop being someone who tries things and become someone who finishes things, waiting. And that shift is massive. Because once you believe you can rely on yourself, everything else gets easier. You set bigger goals. You take more risks. Waiting. You show up with certainty. Because you know that when you say you'll do something, you mean it. Think of internal trust like a bank account. Waiting. Every time you finish what you start, you make a deposit. Every time you quit early, you make a withdrawal. And over time, that balance determines your confidence. Waiting. Your resilience, your ability to grow. Success doesn't just require skill, it requires belief. And belief comes from consistency. Waiting. So stop waiting for perfect timing or ideal conditions. Pick the goal, make the plan, and follow through. Not just once, but again and again. Waiting. Because success is not reserved for the most talented. It's reserved for the most trustworthy. And that trust begins with the promises you keep to you. Waiting. Self-discipline turns chaos into clarity and pressure into power, because it gives structure to your energy and direction to your days. Waiting. When life feels overwhelming, it's often not because you have too much to do, but because you lack a system to do it. Waiting. Self-discipline doesn't eliminate your challenges. It simply organizes them. It allows you to look at a mess and say, let's bring order here. Waiting. Let's decide what matters. Let's move with intention. And just like that, the fog begins to lift. Waiting. Most people try to wait for life to calm down before they get serious. But the truth is, it rarely calms down. Life is busy, noisy, and full of demands. Waiting. Without discipline, you become reactive, always chasing, always behind. But when you cultivate self-discipline, you create internal order. Waiting. You respond instead of react. You act on priorities, not pressure. You become the calm in the storm, not the victim of it. Waiting. Discipline gives you the strength to carry the weight without collapsing. It helps you turn pressure into performance. When others are breaking down from the load, waiting, you're breaking through because you've trained for it. Pressure isn't the problem. Lack of preparation is. Discipline prepares you. It sharpens your focus. Waiting builds your endurance and helps you do what needs to be done, especially when it's uncomfortable. Clarity comes when you no longer negotiate with distractions. Waiting. When you know what you're about and what you're building, discipline simplifies the complicated. It says, here's what matters today. Waiting. And when you do, even in the smallest ways, you take chaos and turn it into movement, into progress, into peace. So if life feels messy, scattered, waiting, or out of control, don't wait for the world to change. Discipline yourself. That's how the fog clears. Waiting. That's how you stop drowning in pressure and start standing in power. Self-discipline won't make everything easy, but it will make everything possible. Waiting. What you do when no one is watching determines who you become, because true character is built in the quiet. It's easy to perform when eyes are on you. Waiting. When applause is waiting, when recognition is guaranteed. But it's in those private moments when no one would know if you skipped the work, cut the corner, keep waiting, or took the easy way out, that your future is being formed. That's the real test. Waiting. And how you show up in those moments reveals whether you're chasing image or integrity. Waiting. Success doesn't come from what people see you do. It comes from what they don't see. The late nights, the early mornings, waiting. The internal battles no one else witnesses. That's where the foundation is laid. And if you're only consistent when it's convenient, waiting, you'll never rise above average, because average is fueled by appearances. Excellence is fueled by purpose. Waiting. And purpose doesn't need an audience. It just needs a commitment. Discipline in private leads to results in public. The athlete trains when the stands are empty. Waiting. The leader prepares long before the meeting begins. The achiever studies, builds practices, not for praise, waiting, but because they know the standard they've set for themselves. You don't need someone watching to validate your effort. Waiting. You need a vision strong enough to demand it. When no one's watching, no one's cheering, and no one's asking, you're the only voice that matters. Waiting. And if that voice says, we do the work anyway, you're building a life of strength, a life of substance. Because eventually, waiting, the world will see what you've done in secret, and they'll call it talent or luck, natural ability. But you'll know better. Waiting. You'll know it was discipline. So show up when no one's watching. Do the hard thing even when it's unseen. Because in the end, waiting, Who you become is not built in public. It's revealed there. Discipline is the foundation for freedom, not the enemy of it. Waiting. That may sound backwards to some. After all, freedom feels like doing what you want, when you want, with no restrictions. Waiting. But true freedom isn't the ability to indulge every impulse. It's the ability to choose your future without being ruled by your habits, moods, or circumstances. Waiting. And that kind of freedom doesn't come from chaos. It comes from structure, from discipline. Without discipline, life runs you. Your time gets stolen, waiting. Your energy gets drained and your goals remain dreams. But with discipline, you take the wheel. You decide what gets done. You decide where the hours go, waiting. You choose growth over ease. And that control, that power over your own direction, is what real freedom feels like. It's not about being uncontrolled, waiting. It's about being self-controlled. Most people think discipline limits you, but the opposite is true. The more disciplined you are with your time, your money, waiting, your thoughts and your habits, the more options you create. You become the kind of person who can walk away from distractions, who can stay consistent, waiting, who can earn trust. And those things open doors. They create space for your creativity, your peace, your purpose to thrive. You see, waiting. Freedom without discipline leads to bondage. Miss enough workouts, and you're a prisoner of poor health. Spend recklessly, and you're a prisoner of debt, waiting. Live without focus, and you're trapped in mediocrity. But bring discipline into your life, and now you're free to climb higher, go farther, waiting, and live on your terms. So flip the script. Don't resent discipline. Respect it. Welcome it like a friend who wants the best for you. Because once you embrace it, waiting, you'll find that discipline doesn't take your freedom. It delivers it. Keep waiting. A simple routine done daily can outperform bursts of motivation because consistency beats intensity when intensity can't last. Motivation is a great spark, waiting, but it burns out fast. It's emotional, it's unpredictable, and it comes and goes with your mood, the weather, your sleep, or your stress, waiting. If you build your life around motivation, you'll be great one day and nowhere the next. But a routine doesn't care how you feel, waiting. It just gets the job done. The power of a routine lies in its predictability. When you know what to do and when to do it, you remove hesitation, waiting. You don't have to wrestle with your willpower or negotiate with your emotions. You simply act. And over time, those small, repeated actions begin to stack, waiting. They build momentum. They build identity. You stop saying, I'm trying to be disciplined. And you start saying, waiting. This is just what I do. That shift is massive. Think about it. What gets better in your life by accident? Not your health, not your finances, waiting. Not your relationships, and certainly not your mindset. Growth requires structure, and a simple routine is the scaffolding that holds your progress steady, waiting. Even when life gets shaky, you don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things every day, waiting. The beauty of routine is that it lowers the bar enough to make action possible, even on your worst days. You may not feel inspired to write 10 pages, waiting, but you can write one. You may not want to run 5 miles, but you can stretch and move, waiting. And those small actions are often the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. So stop chasing motivation. Let it visit when it wants, waiting. But don't rely on it. Build a simple routine instead, one you can stick to, one that reflects your values, one that nudges you forward day after day, waiting. Because while motivation may get you going, it's your routine that keeps you growing, waiting. Your future is hidden in your daily disciplines. Because the life you're dreaming of doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives little by little, waiting, shaped by what you do consistently, not occasionally. We often think success is somewhere out there, far away in the distance. But it's not, waiting. It's hidden in the small choices you make every single day, the ones that seem insignificant, the ones no one notices. But added up over time, waiting. They form the blueprint of your destiny. Your secret to a better life isn't always a massive overhaul. It's often just one habit, one decision, waiting, done consistently that begins to shift everything. Wake up earlier. Read 10 pages a day. Plan your week. Speak with kindness. Follow through on your word, waiting. These things may not feel life-changing in the moment, but they're seeds. And if you water them daily with discipline, They become forests of transformation, waiting. People often say, I want to change my life. But they don't realize your life is your daily routine. What you repeat becomes what you experience, waiting. You can't expect different outcomes from the same actions. But the good news is, you don't need to change everything to start changing something. Pick one area, waiting. Be consistent. Build trust with yourself. That one shift done daily will ripple into other areas of your life. Discipline is the steering wheel, waiting. It points your days, and therefore your life, in the direction of your choosing. Without it, you drift. With it, you design, waiting. And when your disciplines align with your vision, you begin to walk the path of becoming. Not just wishing. That's when real progress happens. Quietly. Daily. Waiting. Powerfully. So ask yourself, what's one discipline you can start today that your future self will thank you for? Don't wait for the perfect time. Begin now, waiting. Because if your future is hidden in your daily disciplines, then today is your chance to uncover it. Change one thing. Do it daily. And soon, waiting, you'll realize you've changed everything.